Hello, my name is Brian Carpenter. I am the curator of Indigenous materials at the American Philosophical Society's Library and Museum. I'm here today with my colleagues Paul Sutherland and Ruth Rouvier to present on Reconnecting Collections and Communities at the American Philosophical Society. Thank you very much for taking some time out of your day to watch our presentation. The American Philosophical Society is based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in Lenapehoking, the homeland of the Lenape peoples. It was founded in the late 1700s by white businessmen and scholars in Philadelphia to be a learned society for the study of what we would today call the natural sciences and related fields. Since those beginnings, it has been a center for the study of indigenous languages of North and South America as well. Also, since those early days, it has been actively functioning as an archive of unique documentary materials on the languages, cultures, histories, and contemporary life of indigenous peoples. It is the oldest such archive in the continent, and today it is among the most extensive such archives as well. We have a QR code here, which will take you to some helpful links about things we'll be talking about today. The QR code will appear again in one of the later slides as well. We will be talking about some research and funding opportunities here at the APS, how to locate materials and request them, some brief examples of kinds of collaborations we do with our Indigenous community counterparts, and a little bit about the active archiving we do. We are presenting from the Center for Native American and Indigenous Research, or CNAIR. This is a permanent department at the APS Library and Museum that is supposed to be the primary contact point for anyone interested in engaging with the collections. The philosophy and purpose of CNAIR is to go beyond just fulfilling requests. We certainly want to do that well, but we also want to have the capacity to make the APS useful to Indigenous communities' priorities. We are not the experts on anyone's language or culture, but we can assist with the complexities of locating materials and other questions that might arise about the collections here. Our primary constituency is Indigenous community researchers. The majority of the requests we receive are from community entities, such as language departments, cultural centers, counterpart archives in tribal communities, and as well as individual people doing their own research. We've been in touch with over 200 communities over the last 15 years of doing this work. We're currently working with about 40 communities on matters of various shapes and sizes. As part of this, we do free digitization for Indigenous community-based and community-connected research. Broadly speaking, what's in the collections? Manuscripts are the vast bulk of materials. There's a lot of audio and video, most of which is digitized. Photographs that come along with this, rare printed materials, both old rare books as well as hard to find local publications, several hundred languages represented. Geographically, it's primarily North America. We say from the Arctic to Central America and coast to coast, but as well as some neighboring regions as well. The dates go from as early as the 1500s through last year. The vast majority of this material comes from language documentation and ethnographic research from like the late 19th century to the present, but there is other stuff such as historical documents from various periods, communities' own self-documentation projects, and so forth. It's a growing collection. We are actively archiving new materials, especially born digital materials. As a brief example of that, these two kinds of collections we take in. The Bruce Pearson papers. Bruce Pearson was a linguist who passed away just a few years ago. He worked extensively with the Delaware tribe in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, as well as Shawnee speakers and with Wyandotte Nation. This material came to us when he passed away on the recommendation of a colleague of his at the Delaware tribe. When we bring in a collection such as this, one of the first things we do is make an inventory of the materials relating to different communities and get that information to them so that they can let us know what materials they'd like to have digitized. We also take in lots of born digital projects, primarily linguistic ones, but also ones such as this example of Holly Miawak, who's an Inupiaq scholar who's interviewed Alaska Native World War II veterans and other Alaska Native folks of that generation from throughout the state. and as actively archive those videos here as well as co-archive them at the Inupiaq Heritage Center and other related community archives. So if you have materials you're wondering about how to archive and you'd like to be in touch with us with any questions about that, we would be happy to give you more information. For now, I will pass it on to Ruth, who will give you more information on our fellowship opportunities.
So the APS has a large number of grant and fellowship programs for academic and non-academic researchers. Today, I'll mainly focus on programs that are specific to CNAIR, although there are also APS-wide fellowships and grants that can be used to support Indigenous research. And as a reminder, this information is available in our handout. APS funding opportunities fall into two main categories. Fellowships and internships is the first. These typically involve work with our existing archival collections and or a period of residency at the APS. They usually fund your travel to the APS, expenses for carrying out your project, and living expenses while you're in Philadelphia. We have short-term fellowships generally lasting several weeks to several months, and long-term fellowships that offer 1 to 2 years of funding. So I'll mainly be talking about these kinds of funding today, but the APS also offers research grants. And these are generally funds for conducting original research and for creating new materials. So we have funding opportunities for a pretty wide variety of users. These include community researchers, undergraduate students, graduate students, including MA and doctoral program students, postdocs, and faculty sabbatical fellowships. And we often get questions about whether applicants need to be based in the US, and I'm happy to say that they do not. We welcome and encourage applications from those outside of the US and of North America. So you're probably wondering what's available now. Most of our funding applications, the deadlines fall between January and March. Our long-term fellowship deadlines have passed, but we have 3 short-term fellowship opportunities which are accepting applications through March 17th. The Indigenous Community Research Fellowship provides funding for individuals or groups of researchers to travel to Philadelphia to examine materials in our collections in order to further community-based priorities. This fellowship program is designed especially for Indigenous community members, museum and archive professionals, and independent scholars. Applicants do not need to have a specific academic background or any academic affiliation. The next opportunity is the Digital Knowledge Sharing Fellowship, which supports digital projects that connect archives to Indigenous communities. These fellowships are open to people at any stage of their career or academic background, including those based in communities or in universities. And the final opportunity that's open right now is the Undergraduate Summer Internship Program. This is an 8-week paid internship at the APS in Philadelphia. Interns are based with CNAIR and have the opportunity to conduct research on a project of their choosing and explore career possibilities in archives and special collections. And they also receive individualized mentoring and lots of networking opportunities. So the 3 shaded rows at the top of this table represent the 3 short-term fellowships I just mentioned. The remaining 3 rows are our long-term residential fellowships, which support postgraduate academic research. Although these application deadlines have already passed, I hope you will keep them in mind for next year. We offer a 12-month predoctoral fellowship and a 12-month postdoctoral fellowship, which is open to doctoral graduates at any career stage, including recent graduates, professors seeking sabbatical support, and independent scholars. Finally, we have a new 24-month career pathways postdoc, which supports a combination of independent research, mentoring, and training at the APS, and on-the-job experience at another cultural institution in Philadelphia. And just a note about the award amounts at the far right. For the long-term fellowships, these include stipend, research funds, and funds for purchasing health insurance. So now I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Paul Sutherland, who will tell you about our collections.
Hello, my name is Paul Sutherland, and I'm one of the archivists here at the Centre for Native American and Indigenous Research. I'm now going to go briefly over 3 tools that are helpful for different types of searches: the Indigenous Subject Guide, our Central Collection Search, and our Printed Materials Catalogue Search. The Indigenous Subject Guide is launched in 2018 and is expanding. and provides summaries of prominent materials relevant to a particular language or community within each collection. You can browse the currently 2,000 entries by culture, language, or just view all in this part above. You can also view a map interface showing materials recorded at a specific place, but this is certainly not comprehensive. This is a zoom in of what it looks like when you look into the map interface, and you can see the links away to the guide entries there. When browsing all on this page, you can filter by faceted searching on the left, including by type, which is a bit lower down. So if you wanted to just look at the sound recordings, you can do that here. So the structure of an entry is structured as follows. The top is the title of the entry. And these are the faceted search terms, including contributors, which we try to include Indigenous contributors where they've been identified. Then a description, which may include details about highlights and where in the finding aid you are likely to find relevant materials, and then a link to the finding aid. If you follow a link to a finding aid, you can be taken to its page. Now, in the finding aid, it's structured as follows. On the left-hand side is the navigation, including any series it's divided into. And then the body, the main section, has the top-level collection information. You can expand these, and then the full inventory underneath. Central collection search is a keyword search across all manuscripts and printed materials, but there's a better guide for that, which I'll explain later. This is good for searching specific terms that might show up, or place names, because it's just a keyword search. So it's more thorough than the subject guide, but the downside is that it dumps you straight into the finding aids with no explanation as to why. So if you search using simple search here, then you can narrow down to manuscript collection on the left. Here I've searched tunica. Looks like we have 10 collections that have the word tunica in them, and both of these links here would, for example, take you to the Mary House Papers finding aid. OPAC printed materials catalog is the printed materials search. Here, for example, I've done a search for Lakota, which brings up 26 results, and here is the detailed view of an individual book. Some general limitations. Not all collections are processed. There's a large collection of unprocessed manuscript collections and printed materials. So you can ask us about if we're aware of that, of unprocessed collections as well. Collections have been described at different times, meaning there are many legacy descriptions that we haven't been able to revise yet. Prompts from researchers encourage us to make these revisions. Different areas of description also reflect different priorities from the archivists, and the original intent of the research may be different to what you're getting out of the collection. There's always more detail than can go into a finding aid. Ask us if you can't find what you're looking for. Just because things aren't apparent doesn't mean they're not present. And now I'll talk about how to access collections. I'll talk about browsing digitized materials, accessing digitized audio, making new digitization requests, and in-person visit. The vast majority of manuscripts are not digitized. If they are and are available online, there will be links from the Access Digital Object link below each record in the finding aid, like here. Clicking this link will take you to a page to view the object. There's currently no way to download a PDF from this page, so if you need that, please ask us. Accessing digitized audio, the steps are detailed in the handout, but basically you need to create an account, let us know the account information and audio collections you want to access, and we can set you up. There may be cultural sensitivity restrictions limiting access to some files, collections. Just like scanned manuscripts, audio can be accessed by clicking the Access Digital Object link below each record in the finding aid. If logged in and with permission to access the material, you will be taken to a page like this, where you can click the media player to stream the audio or download an MP3 here. Making new digitization requests can be done by clicking the request a copy, which is the link is to the right of each record in a finding aid. This will take you to a login page for Aon, where after you're signed in, it will fill out the information into a form. If you have any notes you want to add for us, then you can include this in this field, and then click submit request. We'll try to respond quickly as we can. With a reminder for making digitization requests, we are able to offer free digitization for Indigenous researchers and community members. You can contact us directly in addition to or instead of any of these processes. We try to reach out to people with requests who have requests anyway to help facilitate their research. And we also have a variety of ways to send that we've previously sent copies to people. Not just our online download system, but also USB sticks, printouts and binders in the mail, etc. Of course, we also encourage people to visit in person too. Ruth went over some of the funding and fellowship opportunities available, but individuals and groups are welcome to come outside of that, regardless of academic status. You do not need to be an academic to visit us. The reading room is open weekdays, and here's some information about scheduling, which again will be in the handout. And also, we would love to chat with you before or during your visit to Philadelphia to welcome you and to see how we can help your research. I will now pass it over to Brian, who will talk about collaboration.
Lastly, I will note some ways that we seek to build longer-term relationships and collaborate with the Indigenous communities we're in touch with. One of the most common forms of this is working with Indigenous community-run archives, such as the two I have noted here, though there are many more. Beyond simply fulfilling requests, we want to make sure that these places have full sets of materials at the APS from their respective communities, and to make sure that we're getting it to them in such a way that it can be integrated into their collections and made use for other community work, such as language programs and other outcomes. We also provide multiple platforms to promote community initiatives and other kinds of work. Some examples include public lectures, such as we've done with our friends at the Little Traverse Bay Bands of Odawa. With them, we also did our first ever tribally curated exhibit in our lobby space. We also, in the Zoom era now, frequently do online talks, and in the future more in-person talks featuring community projects of various kinds. Lastly, we also started doing direct collaboration on projects. One example of this is we have the good fortune to work with the Tunica Biloxi tribe on a project to transcribe Tunica language notebooks that are here, and to create a portal by which Tunica language learners, tribal members, and the general public can learn about this resource in a way that is directly curated by community members themselves, providing commentaries and other pieces of knowledge about the collections. Our collaborative projects are not limited to this. We're hoping that these projects can be productive of more ideas in the future, so we very much welcome the opportunity to work with you on any ideas that you have.
So to wrap up, here are some of the ways that you can work with us. You can request copies of materials in our collections, and a reminder that these copies are free for members of Indigenous communities. Talk to us about archiving your own records with us. Apply for one of our many funding opportunities, or reach out with your own ideas about collaboration. As a reminder, we have 3 short-term fellowships open now with applications due by March 17th. And please don't hesitate to contact us with questions. We do look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.